Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Team MAK Corp, and we were working on the project Safe Future Foundation inventory system, and this is the project presentation. The team consists of three of us. Me, myself, my name is Alexis Campos. My other teammate is Mustafa Erdogan, and the other is Kyle Barnett. So our community partner is Safe Future Foundation with Chris Toby as the CEO and co-founder. The foundation is a nonprofit and they work with diaper banks and food pantries. And basically, they handle donations for diapers, food, children's products, and everything for mothers as well to have to share that with people in the community. So some of the opportunities and relevant problems that we found was audit and tracking gap, where they were unable to kind of keep an accurate, precise audit of their inventory because there's so many donations come in. They have no way of keeping in track. They need a way for granular data to be kept in track, so they need to handle micro level inventory instead of the macro reports that they used to have. So a lot of times their donations as well had no identification, so they needed stuff like a QR code to be able to identify the product and be able to put that into the inventory. This also allowed them to have purchasing efficiency because right now they struggle to make informed decisions based on data since they don't really have the data to order more supplies if needed. And this then presents the infrastructure constraint that they had where they want to be able to have a sizable portion of the work be done on the field at events instead of having to do pen and paper. So some key product requirements that were gathered are we found that QR code scanning for audits was a mandatory one. You really need to have a scanning system to be able to track each donation individually. Reporting capabilities, they want to be able to have summary reports through PDFs to be able to understand the state of their inventory to get better understanding of the decision making and reporting. Item inventory tracking was also a big part. Again, be able to understand what they have on a micro level and track exactly the individual items as donations that came in. Handling security for user roles for logging in and be able to handle logging in and sharing passwords and be able to recoup their account if with a forgot password feature. And of course, simplicity and usability, where user face is upfront and very simple to navigate without requiring a huge PDF guide or anything to be able to handle it.
These are our user stories. So this is where we as a group tried to figure out exactly what type of users would be using our product, but also what they would be doing with our product, and therefore how that should influence our design process. These are our use case diagrams. So this allows us to visually lay out how our different design decisions impact the overall structure of our code. That is what these detail. Uh, the overall development process from the inception, we had, our project vision, we had our initial software development plan, we did the user stories, um, then we elaborated with, overall with the overview of the use cases and more detailed use cases. Then we constructed it with activity diagrams, analysis models, sequence diagrams, and then uh, at the end we did bug fixers and a conference. And these are some examples of those diagrams I talked about earlier.
On the left, we have our ER diagram for the inventory management system, and on the right, we have our analysis diagram for our login system. Technologies we used to create the inventory management system. We used ASP.NET Core, MVC architecture, Visual Studio, and VS Code, depending if we had Mac or Windows. We use Microsoft Azure, Azure SQL for our database, and we use GitHub along with Copilot, Bootstrap, and Cloud Code. Some value that was added to our client include real-time visibility of inventory levels, reducing stockouts and overstocking, automated QR scanning, improving accuracy, and eliminating manual entry errors. We had a centralized inventory tracking, allowing staff to quickly locate items across all storage areas. We had low stock alerts, enhanced accountability with user activity logs that added track to who added stuff, edited, so pretty much history of everything that was happening in the system. The system was built to be scalable, allowing the organization to easily expand inventory categories. And we had a secure authentication process, which ensures only authorized users accessing the system, protecting sensitive inventory data from people who should not have access. Some key learnings include, well, first off, as a team, we learned plenty of valuable lessons, such as properly documenting coding progress and documenting user stories through Jira. We learned communicating and scheduling meetings with multiple parties. We learned to understand and define the scope of explained stuff from our client and community partner. As a team, we learned to effectively coordinate and complete tasks while actively helping one another with any issues we may run into. We learned to seek aid from our mentors when we were unsure or we needed help, and many more lessons along the way. So I'll be going over the login system. So when an admin first enters the website URL, they're greeted with the sign-in page, and the admin can enter their username and password and sign in. And then they're met with the dashboard page, which we will go over more in detail later. The admin has everything a regular user has, but they also have this admin button up here. And from the admin page, they can manage users, they can create users. For example, the admin can click create user. They will enter the user's first name, last name, email, and then from here they could set whether they want to give the new account a volunteer or admin role. And then with accounts that are already active, the user or the admin can change their password. They can click reset code. And then from there, they get a temporary code, which the user uses to log in. And then this is also how the admin creates users. For example, when the admin is creating a new account, they can enter all of the information and then select the role volunteer and then create user. And once they create that user, the website generates a temporary code, for example, 517461. And then over here on the bottom, it says must set password. So when the user logs in with the information, for example, then the temporary password was 517461 and they sign in. It takes them to a page where it says create your password. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then now the user can log in and access the website. And then on the admin's end, when the admin logs in, now that user's password will say set where the other one said must set password. So it's active now. They can access the website and they go from there. And that is the login system.
Okay, I'm going to be speaking about the inventory management use case. So right after you log in, you would be brought into the dashboard, and then on the top, you also have the button option to go directly into the inventory. Here, you'll have a list of all the available items that is part of the inventory. You can categorize them. You can select specific items. You can decide whether how many items you want to have per page, up to 100. And it goes pretty down. You can search the name by specific name. So if I type in baby, I'll get every donation item that has baby inside of it. Same thing with the categories for low stock, no expiration, expired. Also through specific dates, you can filter and find specific items. On each specific item as well, you can go in and look at the details for that item. And here you'll be presented with the specific details such as the quantity, a brief description if there was given one, date it was added, its status of whether it's expiring soon, category, low stock threshold, if not. And also on the bottom, it gives you a list of the donation history. So for multiple items of the same donation, you could have multiple people bringing in baby bathtubs or towels or whatnot, it'll give you a list of the history of who brought in that item and how much they brought in, and if there's any notes specifically for that. There's also a side here for recent adjustments that were made manually by a user, and their name would be presented on here. So if someone came here to update an item information here and made it to now 35, that would then present in the recent adjustment, and it would tell you the user who made that adjustment. Also here you'd be presented with a QR code, but we'll get to the QR codes with our other other team member, Kyle. Going back to the inventory adjustments, you can also do a manual adjustment, not only in the item details, but also on the main screen. You can do an adjustment here and it will be reflected on the inventory afterwards. The other aspect here is in adding a specific item. So when you go to add, you can put in the item name. And also if it's presented with they'll give you a list of all inventory items that possibly had that name as well. So baby, you have a bunch of lists of different answers. So if you're trying to do one that already exists, you can quickly select it and it will tell you that it already exists. You give a description. You can then choose a category from specific ones there or an other. You then must put in a quantity number. Expiration dates, we'll just say expires in a week from now. And then this is where you will put in the donor name. So I would put in my own, and then you would add that item. Let's put 0 here for the low stock threshold, so we don't have any alerts that come in. And then if we go back, we'll see it immediately when you add the item to one that's existing, it will bring you to that item details page. And then you will see that on the donor list, I, as the donor who donated 200 of new of this expired baby formula, or the baby formula, but it's telling us that it's expired, has been added, and it gives you a brief note of what happens there. Also, we have the ability to export as a whole on the top right here, the whole inventory as a PDF, CSV, or Excel. And you can also export specific items. So here, if I select 3 of these items and export as PDF, they will be exported here in their own PDF with each one tabled one above the other. And it gives you the brief overview of all the information, all the item details. And the same way, you'd be able to export as a PDF CSV of the entire inventory, presented as a big table with all the information present there horizontally. And export Excel and CSV work the same way. I just don't believe I have Excel set up here already right now, but let's see if I can get it. It will export the Excel sheet, and it will provide it here as such, as well as an Excel spreadsheet. And that is the inventory management.
So this is Kyle Barnett. I worked on multiple different things, one of which is the dashboard here, which is what you see as soon as you log in. You can see important categories already laid out here, so you can immediately jump to what's about to expire or what has expired, things that need your attention, different things that have been recently updated. And then on the inventory side, I have made it so that for all of these, you can click on the QR button and it will generate a QR code here that you can then print and put on the items. So that way you can scan the QR code and it will be able to take that device directly to the details page for that item. I've also made it so that way you can click and print them in mass.
We just want to give a thank you to everyone who helped us here, including our mentors and our CEO community partner, Chris Toby. So we want to thank again our mentors, Robert Brown and Alexander Wozni. Thank you, Mr. Chris Toby, for giving us the opportunity to work on this project for you, to be a part of your organization, to have this project, be an impact for you guys, and hopefully turn out to be everything you guys needed so it can work and be an improvement to your daily work lives. And thank you again for taking the time to answer any of our questions and clearly explaining to us what you're expecting of us and trusting us to be able to complete this project for you. And to our mentors, Robert Brown and Alexander Wozni, we thank you greatly for your guidance and for the technical aspects and helping us understand how we're supposed to manage the project, what we're supposed to be focusing on, ensuring us that for example, in the beginning, helping us handle Git and having everything unified together was a great help in the beginning to really get our organization in check. And you guys really kept us apprised on what we really need to be working on, what we should be looking to complete first. So we greatly appreciate you again answering all of our questions, reviewing our work, and providing feedback that we can improve on any chance you guys got. So we greatly appreciate that, and hopefully everything turns out great. So thank you so much for the opportunity to work on this, and hopefully we can speak again in the future. Take care, everyone.